All righty, a very good Thursday evening to you folks. Wanted to bring you an update. We are watching and monitoring the potential for heavy rainfall with potential of flooding across the northern half of East Tennessee on up into Kentucky and Virginia. Taking a live view of our Sharps Ridge Tower camera right now. You may be noticing this at your house, been out and about, seen some lightning off in the distance. We have scattered thunderstorms that are prevalent across eastern parts and northeastern parts of East Tennessee and especially up into Kentucky. I do want to pass along some information for southeast Kentucky. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you the radar coming up in just a moment. And what we're looking at is the setup for scattered strong thunderstorms with heavy rates of rainfall that are slowly working their way southward out of Kentucky. Now, these are breaking up just a little bit, so that is some good news, but also moisture surging up from the south. And so some of that tropical air in training just ahead of this front and the boundary that's sinking southward. So that has produced some of these clusters of heavier showers and storms. Some of the information I want to pass along to you as we see, again, the radar behind me, and I'll go ahead and zoom on in for a closer vantage point. But specifically, and I'll go ahead and slide it up just a little bit more, from parts of Kentucky in Whitley County. In Whitley County around Woodbine, getting reports of some roads being impassable with flooding near the Woodbine Fire Department. The road in front of that Woodbine Fire Department is underwater and also not passable. So that's what we're looking at in terms of one report. Also, let's see, have another Whitley County flooding. Also, floodwaters up to a residence along Eatontown Road near Woodbine, and reported that on social media. And another public report coming through on X or Twitter on social media, floodwaters surrounding a home along Kentucky 26 near Dollar General. That's also in Woodbine in Whitley County, Kentucky. So we have flash flood warnings that are in place. Let me go ahead and show you the particulars, and we'll walk through, again, all the different parameters for the flooding potential tonight and the rain showers on radar now and our Futurecast. So hang with me. We'll go right through that. First of all, to highlight the flooding potential, northern half of East Tennessee, it does include down into the mountains. This is where we have a level 2 out of 4 elevated risk. Again, even in southern valleys, not nearly the risk, but again, northern half of our region has the best chance to see heavy rainfall, and torrential rain could lead to a possibility of flooding. Rainfall rates could be in excess of 2 inches per hour. And also the Weather Prediction Center is kind of highlighting some of these same areas, even into the early portion of overnight tonight, for the possibility of flooding. So that's the setup of what we're looking at as far as the flooding potential. And to match that flooding potential, southeast Kentucky into southwest Virginia and northern counties of East Tennessee that border Kentucky and Virginia, we have flood watches in place. Now, for the Tennessee counties up into Lee County, Virginia, the flood watch is in place until midnight tonight. For southeast Kentucky, that flood watch will be in place through 8 p.m. tomorrow evening for additional showers and storms. So that's what we're looking at, and I'll walk through some of the information from the National Weather Service from Morristown, Nashville, and Jackson, and give us updates on that coming up. Most of the thunderstorms, again, what we're seeing on our Sharps Ridge Tower cam looking east, thunderstorms from passing through Dandridge up in Morristown now. So Morristown and Hamilton County, you're seeing some pretty intense lightning. Again, nothing overly strong, but we are looking at some frequent lightning, some heavy amounts of rain here. Let me check the latest from the National Weather Service office in Morristown. And most of the stronger storms with the latest flash flooding from the Morristown offices coming up here into southwest Virginia and upper East Tennessee. But these storms coming into the Lakeway area from Dandridge to Morristown, Douglas Lake, on up into Cherokee Lake are packing a punch. And so they are on the strong side. More scattered storms east of Greenville, and certainly the other cluster that has produced quite a bit of rainfall and flooding. This is that cluster of storms that has gotten some roads impassable across parts of Whitley County, Kentucky, Williamsburg, Kentucky, and Whitley County. And some of the other information that we're seeing there is very heavy rainfall has certainly led to flooding. We are looking at, again, that potential for more heavy rainfall as we go through tonight. So first of all, I want to zoom on in and show you the flash flood warnings that we have in place. So flash flood warning for McCreary and Whitley counties until 11:15 tonight. Again, this is due to this cluster of thunderstorms. This is the last 2 hours as these storms have rolled across parts of southeast Kentucky. Again, they've dropping very heavy rates of rainfall in excess of 2 inches per hour. As I mentioned, whenever you have thunderstorms, that's convective rainfall, heavy at times. Another flash flood warning. This was the initial one actually until 10:30. And so that's going to come up for about another 45 minutes or so. This is for Knox County, Kentucky and Whitley County, Kentucky. So again, Whitley County, 2 different flash flood warnings. First one until 10:30 for northern areas, and then the other one is impacting coming out of McCreary County into Whitley County. And as we mentioned, Woodbine, Kentucky and Whitley County reports of flooding ongoing. Now, if you live in a flood-prone area, you need to always be prepared to seek higher ground. Be prepared to move away from those low spots if it's near a stream, a creek, or river, and get to higher ground quickly if floodwaters are obviously increasing. And stay weather alert. Never drive through floodwaters, especially at night when those floodwaters are harder to see, and especially for swift moving water across the road. You don't know if the roadbed is there underneath. So we're talking about when we're talking about flash flood warnings like these, that's rapid rises of water in a very short period of time, and that's more serious than a flood advisory, which is more of the nuisance and minor flooding. So difference always between an advisory, lower end threshold, warning, and upgrade to any advisory, which is a little bit more of the serious nature of that. So again, we have some flash flood warnings, some rapidly rising water in parts of McCreary and Whitley counties in Kentucky and Knox County, Kentucky. Those storms, the good news, at least that cluster has made its way out of the region. So elsewhere, we're going to, of course, zoom on into the Morristown area. That's the other area in the Lakeway region that we continue to see some of these stronger thunderstorms. By the way, coming up in just a little bit, in about a little over 10 minutes, we'll have a full update at 10 o'clock on Fox 43, our partner station there, and of course at 11 o'clock on Channel 10 WBAR. So the very latest on air, as well as you can follow us online and right here streaming whenever we have impactful weather. So here's what we're looking at from Jefferson City to Washburn, and from Jefferson County into Granger County, Hamblen County, Morristown. You're covered up with thunderstorms and very heavy rainfall. So Cherokee Lake, again, coming out of Granger County and Hamblen County, and out of Jefferson into Hamblen counties, we're looking at very heavy rainfall. Again, some stronger wind gusts possible, but it's mainly torrential rainfall with some frequent lightning. And again, let's put this in motion and show you what we're looking at over the last couple of hours. Again, these storms, as you can see, these are the ones that have been making their way to the northeast from Dandridge and Douglas Lake. But look how quickly these develop. A little bit more of an outflow boundary from those storms that were in Sevier County and southern Jefferson County earlier have propagated to the north. And so there's Cherokee Lake, and again, extending these thunderstorms basically from Jefferson City all the way to Morristown, near Mooresburg. Whitesburg, you saw some pretty intense, heavier showers and some gusty winds. Thank you, folks who have shared your information and your weather pictures and video on social media. We've seen some of those on Facebook, and we appreciate you sharing that with us earlier this evening. Here's what's happening right now over just the last hour. Let's trim that back just a little bit, and you can see just in the last hour, there's the heavier rates of rainfall that continue to impact much of that region. So again, we're talking about from southeast Kentucky into upper east Tennessee, the Lakeway area, including Morristown. This is what we're looking at in terms of the stronger storms. Now, let's take a look at a couple different our high-res models, and I'm going to kind of stair-step this through. This is the first one that was showing more of the coverage across Kentucky, Virginia, and parts of East Tennessee. This takes us until 11 p.m. tonight, and again, I'll kind of walk this through manually. But there's a look at some of those storms. It's kind of picking up on those coming out of Kentucky into Virginia and Morristown, Dandridge areas. What about later tonight after midnight? Look at the new development. This is 1 a.m. coming up from North Carolina, maybe into the Smokies and parts of Blount County. And again, the focus is generally across the eastern half and particularly northern half. And as we go through the rest of tonight, go ahead and let this play out between 2 a.m. Hopefully we will see a continued weakening trend. That would be some good news on this particular model if that verifies. Again, the one thing we have to watch out for, which we had last night, was what we called training. Thunderstorms repeatedly moving over the same area. That happened last night in Cumberland County and back to the west and all on the plateau up into Kentucky. So hopefully we avoid that tonight. And this particular model would seem to indicate that we'll have some clusters of heavier showers and storms, but they're going to be moving out. So that's good news. That's just one of our high-res models. We have two different in-house models we use. So here's the other one. Let's get a vantage point of it. Again, each one does a little things differently, different resolution. Each one has their strengths and weaknesses, etc. But also what we're looking at now that we're already seeing the thunderstorms is which one, what we call initializes the best. So here's a look at this particular model starting at just after 9:30. So it's seeing the thunderstorms up in Kentucky. Not exactly seeing it fully in Morristown area, but the spirit of what it's showing is close. And so as we walk through between now and 11 p.m., looking at some more stuff that's coming out of Middle Tennessee across the plateau. And there's a look at just after midnight and closer to 1 a.m. You do have more development on the plateau and into the valley in Knoxville. So still both of them kind of showing something that's going to be possible with scattered showers and thunderstorm activity, at least something over the next several hours, 2 to 3 hours, at least between right now and maybe through about 1 a.m. Once we get to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4, this model also seems to weaken that activity pretty steadily. And then heading on into our Friday, we'll reset, partly cloudy, hot and humid. Another chance for spotty to scattered storms developing later in the day. So that's what we're kind of looking at as far as the potential for the heavier showers and storms tonight and into tomorrow. So again, we'll take just another moment or two just to kind of reset. The main thing we're doing the live stream right now is wanting to bring to your attention the ongoing flooding issue with some flash flood warnings in Kentucky. And if there are more scattered storms potentially redeveloping on already saturated soils, that could cause an issue with high water. So again, don't drive through floodwaters at night. Avoid flooded roads. Turn around, don't drown. That's the motto for flooding. And if you live in a flood-prone area, always be prepared to seek higher ground quickly, as floodwaters, especially in a flash flooding situation, can rise pretty quickly, especially when we're talking about the mountainous steep terrain and also on already saturated soils. Like we've had anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of rain over the last 5 to 7 days coming across the plateau into parts of Kentucky. A lot of that has been in the last couple of days. So we're talking about saturated soils and thunderstorms with, again, those 2-inch per hour rainfall rates. That's excessive, and even a little bit of a tropical connection there. So again, just wanted to bring you that. Again, a humble reminder that we do have flood watch, in place until midnight for northern counties, and then until 8 p.m. Friday for southeast Kentucky. So this is the main area that we'll continue to watch. One more regional view, and then we'll conclude and get ready for our 10 o'clock show on Fox 43. And again, we'll see you back on air at 11 p.m. And we'll continue to keep you updated. If it's more flooding and of the serious nature, we'll be back to give you a live stream later tonight as well. But here's what we're looking at. Just wanted to give you this recap. We're seeing that moisture streaming northward that's coming up from that tropical disturbance in the Gulf. It never really formed too strong as far as a tropical storm, tropical disturbance, a low, but nonetheless circulating that moisture northward. And we've got an old frontal boundary in the Ohio Valley that's created some of these scattered storms, and these are dropping southward. So it's that interaction of the boundary with the scattered storms coming southward out of Kentucky and the moisture feeding northward slowly, not only at the surface, but we're getting some other enhancements in the upper levels that's lifting the air. And so that's coming together, creating that potential flooding risk. And so here's a check of what we're seeing. Just going forward, I'll let this kind of play through. Friday, more scattered storms. Saturday afternoon and evening, we got a batch of heavy rain and strong storms possible late in the day, and we'll reset and do that again on Sunday with that chance for scattered showers and storms. So again, tonight, some heavier showers, especially northern areas. It's going to be warm and muggy. Those spotty storms redevelop for your Friday. Back in the low 90s tomorrow. Not quite as hot this weekend. We're going to be around 90 degrees. And again, we'll talk more about this on air at 10:11 coming right up. Next week, hot. We're looking at the heat returning and drying out as we get into the middle part of next week. So again, stay safe. If you're watching us in Kentucky, have family and friends, make sure they're weather alert tonight with the potential for flooding. Also in the northern counties of East Tennessee, stay weather alert. And again, just avoid those flooded roads. So we'll see you back on air in just a little bit. Hope you have a good, safe rest of your night.